the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? A little special come on live just after this morning. Not the news that we wanted to hear, obviously, but it appears that Cam Coleman is going to get in the portal now, Faith. And I know we talked pretty at length this morning about the Malcolm situation and kind of what transpired over the weekend, and but we kind of felt like, and you did too, and that Cam Coleman would be a guy that may stick it out and could be a guy that Auburn could cling to. But it looks like now nothing he has not officially said, but apparently somebody has told CBS Sports and some of these other outlets that he is going to get in the portal. And I told you this earlier last week. One portal window, if you're even on the fence thinking about getting in the portal, you're dipping, or at least checking the waters, testing the waters a little bit to see what your value's worth.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really expected it, just quite yet. But I mean, yeah, then ESPN came out with their report that says he talked to Auburn officials and said that he was going to go into the portal. So, I mean,
I guess look at it from a standpoint of look at it from his standpoint. What does a guy of his stature and his potential in evaluating this situation? What's he looking at? Like, he's probably got one more year in college. He's going to go pro. He's sitting there going, if I come back to Auburn with this roster depletion, and you and I talked about the offensive line this morning. You lose that many offensive linemen, and then you don't know what the quarterback situation is. You may love the place you're at and want to be there, but the situation may predicate you doing something different personally. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I think you're right. We were just talking about how if that's not the right fit for him to have all of his talents and abilities to be showcased. They weren't showcased to their full potential last year and even his freshman year, obviously, but it is disappointing because he really did seem to love Auburn a lot. And, part of it is why can't you give Auburn and this new coaching staff another chance? But at the same time, if Byron Brown doesn't come in,
no kidding.
Come in, and what are you left with at quarter? Who are you left with at quarterback? I mean, you've seen how unsuccessful Auburn has been with the quarterbacks that they've had with elite receivers. I know we talk about that all the time, but they can't make plays happen if you don't have a quarterback that has the abilities to, let that happen.
Yeah, I don't know what's the mindset in the building right now is the question. If you're Alex Golesh and you hadn't been here very long yourself, I mean, you put your staff together. You had a very small amount of time before signing day. I think you had 3 days that you were on the ground in Auburn before signing day, so you just tried to salvage and do whatever you could. And, some of these guys you knew were leaving, right? I mean, you look down at Jackson Arnold and some of those guys, you knew, okay, but you go into the depth of your offensive line and then the defensive line, which we said we're going to talk about tomorrow. There's guys that aren't even – there's one deep there. There's not even any depth at some of those positions. Like, this is a complete and total tearing down of a roster and a complete rebuild. Like, that word gets thrown around a lot, rebuild, but like this really is.
You're about to be starting from nothing at this point at the rate that all these guys are leaving and the portal window hasn't actually even opened. Again, like, I think Cam really liked Auburn and he tried really hard to see the vision and see it through. But something I don't expect you to hear is any negative about
Oh,
Auburn
no.
coming out of his mouth. I don't think he'll say anything negative.
He had 1,306 yards and 13 touchdowns in 2 seasons at Auburn. He's got to be the top player in the portal. I mean, he's got to be the most highly sought after target. I don't know what he garners as far as money, but I mean, this is, and again, in fairness to him, what is he coming back to? Like, if this is a complete and total tearing down and rebuild of culture and mentality and how we got to, we just were talking to somebody else, Faith, the pain of this, and you said it this morning, the pain of this is different than the pain of what we've been experiencing covering Auburn. That was not a cheat, not living up to expectations pain. This is going to be a whole different new kind of pain. This is going to be, you went from the 13th best roster in the country to I don't know where this thing's going to be ranked by the time it's all over. But you may get better coaching. The coaching may be better and it may be able to make up a gap, some of that. But I don't know that you could get, from a standpoint of losing this many people off your roster that you are going to depend on this year. I don't know how you go out and you fill 30, 35 positions with guys that you feel like are comparable and capable of helping you compete at the highest level in this conference.
I don't think you can bring anybody in that touches Cam Coleman.
Oh, no.
And his talent and his level of, it is going to be hard to, replace just the level of talent, the higher tier talented guys that are leaving. But at the same time, like you said, bring in guys for depth purposes, because Auburn has lost so much depth. So not only do you need to bring in highly talented guys, you need to bring in depth. How many guys do you need to get out of the portal to complete this roster?
Yep. Tubb said, I wonder what the number was that Golish told Cam. Here's the thing. At some point in time, Alex Golish is going, the honeymoon's over. And it didn't last very long. He's got to get up in front of a mic and explain why these top-rated starters on this team are hitting the bricks and are getting gone. He's got to get up and talk about it. He's got to give some kind of explanation. And he may get up there and give you something like, hey, if they don't want to be here, we don't want them. At some point in time, you got to pump the brakes and go, hey, I hear you, but some of these guys, you can't just go, oh, well, good luck to you. We're going to do it our way here. I thought the priority, correct me if I'm wrong, Faith, one of the things he said was priority is keeping this roster intact.
Yep.
Well, he's not doing a very good job of it. And whatever he's saying and whatever this coaching staff saying and this administration that he's brought in, obviously the players don't like what they're being told. We got word just now that a possibility of, and this is terrible too. I mean, this on the defense, like Durkin staying, we thought Durkin was a key for this defense. And look, I wouldn't trade DJ Durkin for anybody out there. I think he's a hell of a defensive coordinator. But him coming back hadn't helped retain these guys. These guys have been jumping ship left and right. And now it's rumored that Eric Winters and Anquan Fagans are, weighing their options and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm past the 30 number now. We're on our way to 40. We're well on our way to 40, I think. Because I think Cam either makes 29 or 30.
Yeah.
In the portal now for Auburn. So we hit the number. I said 30. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I was hoping I was overshooting. I was going, okay, maybe I'm just being a little bit exaggerating. No, we're going to go on way past that. So I don't know how this is unprecedented in college football. And we're not the only ones. I mean, now we talked about this morning, we're in the top, 8 in the country in anticipated transfers. at like 24, 25. That number's got to be higher than that now. It's really kind of crazy to think what this team is going to look like. And you know what? I hate to say it. Maybe it's what's needed to have happen. Because it ain't been working for 5 years. And we've had great players. But obviously there was something missing with all of this. Now, I know we ain't had a 13th best roster for 5 years. But this past year, Faith, maybe one of the most damaging things that we've had happen in this program's history. For them to have spent the money they spent, compiled the roster they compiled, have the schedule that was there that we all felt was very manageable, and for them to win 5 freaking games, man, like that is irreparable damage, I think, that Alex Golesh and his staff are rightfully or wrongfully having to deal with. And I don't think anything he's saying right now is helping the matter. I don't know the man. I don't know what he's saying to these guys. But apparently what he's saying and what he's trying to sell isn't working.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what's true and what's not, honestly, at this point about, what we're hearing about. Sorry, I have a whole, civil war going on back here.
You have a kennel back there behind you.
Yeah, just my zoo. But I don't know what's true and what's not true when it comes to what is being said and how everything is playing out. Because, honestly, when you have all of these people leaving and there's some of these guys that, are bad-mouthing what's going on and talking about how they think they're worth more and they deserve more and all this kind of stuff. You don't know what is being truthful. And I don't know.
Well, and I hear what you're saying, Justin, on that. That's the one. Yeah. You can't blame a guy for somebody that's not unwilling to go, but he hasn't been ghosted by he wasn't ghosted by Cam Coleman. And Cam, I heard they met multiple times, and I heard the last meeting didn't go very well. So,
apparently it was weird. But again, here's the thing. Who knows what's true and what's not true at this point? Because all we're hearing is hearsay. And honestly, if we could be in there and listen, I wish we could, because we could report straight from the truth. But
I hear you, Coy. And we've said that. Look, I thought I just kind of summed all that up. You didn't achieve what you needed to achieve, and that's why Hugh Freeze didn't have a job right now. But some of these guys, if you're to even have a chance to compete, you had to keep a few of your key guys.
Auburn's not going to be able to compete at all.
If you got 20 to 25 million, then you got to make Cam Coleman a priority. I hear most of these guys, you can tell them to get gone. If they don't want to be there, of course, you don't want them there. But at the end of the day, the Xavier Atkins, the Cam Colemans, those guys, if you're planning for the future, the Deuce Knights, you got to do what you got to do to keep the pieces in place to kind of have some semblance of some playmakers. You can't let everybody go exit stage left and just say, oh, we'll just go out here in the portal, which is 15 days, by the way. There is no spring portal. There is no chance to go through. And I still stand by what I said. I still agree with it. That's part of the problem. You had 2 portal windows, and you were trying to protect everything. You tried to protect everybody during spring and didn't want to have A-Day games anymore and all that because you were afraid somebody's going to poach your players. Well, now you got to get all your business done in 15 days, and I stand by that because whatever happens after January 16th, that's your team moving into the year. So the urgency has been ramped up tremendously. So, I don't know. Cam Coleman can probably go out and demand whatever the hell he wants to demand.
Yep.
Because he is going to be the top guy in the portal, without a doubt. So I'm saying this, and again, Alex Golesh hasn't been here long enough to know what he's doing as far as trying to process everything. But there's some guys you got to look in the mirror and go, from a perception standpoint, that the ship isn't completely sinking, you got to do everything you can to say that All-American linebacker ain't going anywhere. That All-American wide receiver is not going anywhere. Now, we're going to have to cut bait with some of these other guys, but some of these guys, from a name standpoint only, you got to keep around. And Auburn's not doing a very good job of that. And again, you get paid the money, you got to take the criticism. And again, the honeymoon's over for Alex Golich. He has got way more than his work cut out for him coming up on Friday.
I think Johnny's right by saying Cam's not leaving over money. I think that there's something internally, and he's not going to be able to make plays that showcases his talent next year is what's about to happen. And I think Auburn's about to find that out. And we're all about to find that out. So I don't know what that means.
Well, he's saying the stuff that you and I heard.
Yeah.
That meeting didn't go very well.
Yeah, but
how the hell does that meeting not go well? Like seriously, and again, I'm not trying to be critical of a guy that ain't coached a down at Auburn yet. But how do you go into the number one player on your roster in family that's been bought in since day one and has warded off all the poachers, and how does that meeting not go well? I don't know how that.
His parents are some of the nicest people ever. So, but I think Auburn's about to find out something along the quarterback lines of either transferring in or Deuce transferring out, whatever it might be. I think we're about to find that out. I don't know what that means, but something has to be happening internally there for Cam to not want to be there anymore.
I mean, I say, not to repeat myself, but from an evaluation standpoint, when you look at, you may want to be back there, you may love it, but if you look at what's around you and your opportunity for success, and if you want to compete for a championship, there's no way Cam Coleman's looking at that roster going, we're going to compete for anything next year. And this is going to be my last year in college. And I'm going to the NFL to do the best I can to get my stock up as high as I can. Is this the place that I can I do that here? And I don't think when you logically sit down and ask yourself that question, as much as it pains me and you to say it, you can't do that at the current status of Auburn's program. I mean, that's just the harsh reality of it. And it sucks, it does. But at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for him because he's got 1 year left. I said that a couple of weeks ago. Some of these guys don't have 4 or 5 years left to play college football. They got 1 or 2. And they've hung around and they have heard we're going to do this and it's going to turn. I told y'all before the season started that wins would cure a lot of things, and this would be, we're seeing the culmination of Auburn building a massive roster with big names on it and falling on its face. And finally people are going, they've told me this for several years, and I know that coaching staff isn't here anymore, but Auburn's been saying this for several years, and it just does not come to fruition. So I can't buy into this anymore. It sucks. I don't know what else to tell everybody. But we definitely felt like we need to come on here, talk about it. And I know, man, this number is just growing like crazy. And, all your comments, appreciate it. Wins would have cured a lot. Just 8-4. Hell, that ain't asking for the moon, man. This was this schedule was a joke compared to, like, Faith, you and I talked about it every single day in the offseason. How the hell did you not win 8 games?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really baffling to me.
And saying that Cam Coleman isn't matching his pay is crazy because you didn't have a quarterback that was able to make anything happen or an offensive line that was able to, have anything, any protection for your quarterback. So guess what? If Auburn doesn't get a quarterback, whether transferring in or Deuce Knight, whoever it might be, it's going to be
People need to
just as
wake up.
much of a nightmare for however long until Auburn can get a quarterback and
Right.
get some offensive linemen that can actually do their jobs.
I mean,
Because-
I'm telling everybody over here in the comments that's trying to make excuses for why this is okay. I'm not trying to get on here and be doom and gloom, but I'm just saying Cam Coleman was a guy that you needed to keep. And like production-wise hasn't been good for a lot of guys, no doubt. But potential is definitely there with the right coaching. But go check the depth chart right now. For all of y'all that are trying to console yourself that this is going to be fine, go look at the lines of scrimmage like Faith was saying. And if you're Cam Coleman right now and you love Auburn, you still have got to make a business decision on, can I come here and first of all, is this coaching staff going to put something on the field that's going to give me a chance to compete for anything of any
because
merit?
he had to answer the questions when he was brought into the press conference room after and say, hey, you know, what's it like when you're not getting as many touches as maybe you want to have? And he says, you know, I'm just glad to be out there blocking, doing whatever I need to make some plays happen and everything. He's more than just a receiver that blocks. What?
He's a tremendous playmaker. And you saw one-on-one and, you know, and I'm not even reading that shit. I'm just not. I mean, some people just don't get it, but that's fine. He was not given the opportunity. You're going to find out how good he is, and it's what I'm saying. I think you're going to find out, you know, what we all have known, and I think you're fooling yourself when you come up with excuses and you say, oh, well, he didn't do this and he didn't do this and blah, blah, blah and all that. And maybe he didn't to a certain degree. But this program has been in the dumps for 5 years. And there's no other way to spin it. And so you can continue to make excuses of why this is okay. But when you're trying to have a wholesale rebuild, you got to keep some key pieces.
Yeah.
You got to keep some key pieces. And Auburn's not doing that. And again, it may not be Alex Golish's fault, but he's the man in charge now. He's the boss.
There's only a few days left before we start seeing either, you know, continue to see a mass exodus or bring in some sort of talent that's, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to find any talent to compete with this.
Look, it is what it is. But when you look at the ongoing transfer portal tracker out there, I mean, you have, you know, in addition to some of your key skill position guys, this line of scrimmage is the thing that probably is more bothersome than anything to me.
On both sides of the ball.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And we went on a whole segment this morning about the status of college football and how it's broken. And, you know, the kids don't care. Most of them don't care about the school. It's about the next payday or the next opportunity, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, it's a loser mentality to come out and start picking out the imperfections in somebody that you know deep down is a really good player and that anybody would do whatever to have him to start counting and pulling out every imperfection of the guy.
Yeah.
You know, that to me is a loser mentality. No, he's not perfect. Did he drop passes? Yeah, he did. Is he a deep threat guy primarily? Yeah, but I mean, a lot of that was predicated in the scheme that Auburn ran. You know, hell, there forever, I don't think anybody thought Malcolm Simmons could do anything but run a damn speed sweep. And I knew good and well he could. He did way more than that. In the last 3 games, he proved it to everybody. Last year against Oklahoma, he had one of the biggest plays of the year. Deep ball for a touchdown. I mean, none of us on here can help what the offensive play calling was like a lot of times. So, I mean, how many different routes did Cam Coleman have an opportunity to run? Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm relaxed, bro. I mean, I am relaxed. I'm just saying that it is what it is. And that you have to have some of your key guys from a perception standpoint stay on board to kind of show everybody, hey, look, you know, we're gonna get this thing turned around. I'm bought in, but the situations now, I think, Faith, predicating some of these guys making this decision. Like maybe they didn't want to leave and maybe they were hanging on, and all of a sudden they're like, you know, I wanted to stay, but I can't be the Lone Ranger here.
Yeah.
I got to go do something else. And so that's kind of where we are with it.
Yeah. I mean, again, now it's just kind of a matter of what's going to happen come January 2nd.
Yeah.
Much more is going to come out today.
No, the whole team doesn't revolve around Coleman. It doesn't. I mean, I don't think anybody said that. I'm saying that some of your top, if you got a war chest of $20 to $25 million, why are you not trying to hang on to some of these? You ain't got to hang on to all of them. You know, we said Xavier Atkins deserved whatever, and he got it, I'm sure. And but there's some key guys on offense you needed to keep, or you're willing to say, hey, we're going to dump it all into a quarterback. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe you dump it all into a QB. And so, and Byron Brown to me now is very much the priority.
100%.
Okay, now you got to evaluate it this way, Faith. If you're Byron Brown, why are you coming to Auburn?
100%. Why would any quarterback want to come to Auburn right now?
You have no line and you have no receivers really. So you got 1 year left. You got 1 year left in.
My dog just sneezed.
Yeah. Sorry, you freaked out way more than anybody else did. But I think that's legit, that people need to be concerned that there's Byron Brown's just not a given. He probably loves Alex Golish. He probably loves the staff, but he's kind of be like, Coach, what's going to be here with me when I come?
Why would anybody right now
He's the number 3 quarterback in the portal.
Think it's a good idea to come to Auburn when also the production that you've had the last 5 years, and you know, it is a new staff and it is, you know, new coaches and everything, but even just from the standpoint of when you have had all this talent and nothing was able to come of it,
right?
You're trying to, what we hear is underpay people. Why are people wanting to come to Auburn?
It's got to be a very good question right now. And I said it, last week, didn't I, Faye? Bringing 25 or 30 USF players isn't the answer.
No.
That's not the answer. If that's the plan, then we're just going to have to – maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can get 25 or 30 South Florida players to come up here and compete their ass off and prove me wrong, and I hope they do. But if that's the plan, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So, oh, man. So, hey, a lot of y'all commenting and appreciate all of that. A lot of thoughts out there. We'll keep you posted. I know Andy will be going on here in just a minute for the TV show at 12 right here on YouTube and Facebook and statewide TV. So make sure you tune in for that. I'm sure they'll just continue to piggyback right off of what you and I felt like we needed to come on here and talk about. So, again, not good news. But, again, it's going to be very interesting come Friday and then in the next week how all this plays out with this portal. And so, yeah, Aaron, you make a good point. I mean, and you have to take that into account. I definitely give you that Kirk Cignetti took James Madison's players and some of those. I'm not saying it's not. I did preface. I said, look, I'm not sure that's the plan that could work, but maybe he knows way more than all of us. I mean, he's the coach. He gets paid the money. And but Auburn did have the 13th best roster in the country, and they didn't do anything with it this past year. Now, that was a previous coaching staff issue, and it's a culture issue. And I've been saying that for a long time. So maybe all of this right now seems like the sky is falling, but maybe it's what's needed, you know. That's it for us. Just wanted to jump on again. About 10 minutes out for TV. We'll be coming back with you. And again, Faith, appreciate you jumping back on with me real quick. And you got anything you want to add?
Nope. We'll keep you updated on social media.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. So make sure you subscribe and like all of our stuff. Go check out Instagram where we post all of our updates and stuff. Make sure you go out there and spread the word on that. Hey, guys, we'll talk to you soon.